Xenosaga is one of the best game series I have ever played, and its final game, Xenosaga Episode 3, also Sprach Zarathustra, is one of the greatest gaming experiences I've ever had the pleasure of playing. This is one of those games that to me is a 10 out of 10 across the board. It nails every element. It nails music, gameplay, story, character, cinematography, pacing, secrets, side content. I mean, it's truly one of those bittersweet, genuine masterpieces in the industry. For all of the good that this game does, the story that surrounds this game is, in my opinion, representative of one of the greatest Hail Mary plays the industry has ever seen. And yes, Xenosaga fans, that was a double entendre. Hello, everybody, it's your boy Jmulls, and let's feel pain together.
And good morning to you, Xian.
I think it's really hard to understand why this game, in my opinion, is so dang good. Because if you haven't played Xenosaga 1 and 2, then you don't understand the tall task that Xenosaga Episode 3 set out for itself. Xenosaga was clearly meant to go on for way longer than just within 3 games. But they had to get it done in 3. And with the 3rd game, they have so many different plot lines, so many different plot threads and characters and moments they would have to cover and hit. And for the story of Xenosaga, right, it's extremely dense. I mean, it's monolith, right? Even when you play the Xenoblade games, you understand these are very dense stories that have a lot of thought and care put into not only the game world, not only into the characters, but also into the backstories of everything and the overarching structures and mechanisms that encompass these worlds. The same logic, the same stuff applies to Xenosaga because it's directly connected. And so Xenosaga Episode 1 and 2 were already extremely dense, and Episode 3 is even more dense, to the point where there's an entire even in-game like encyclopedia for all the lore that comes in very handy, by the way. But it's one of those cases and situations where they actually stick the landing. For so many other series, for so many other writing teams, they would fumble, something would be out of place, but it's Monolith. They actually stuck the landing here. And granted, it took a couple of side games that not too many people have experienced for themselves with Pied Piper and Missing Year, but when you've actually played or experienced those narratives, those stories, those characters, that backstory, it beautifully sets up Episode 3 to be able to deliver on all of those fronts and to really be the ultimate payoff and send-off for this IP right here. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. The combat is so drastically different from everything that had come before it. It is still turn-based, don't get me wrong, but it's far more streamlined and focused on building up boost gauge so you can spend that boost gauge on really cool big special attacks, or to allow anyone in your party to attack immediately or just have a new turn immediately following the turn that's currently going on. It's a far more streamlined combat system, but I do think it rather works for Episode 3. I think you can make an argument, right, that maybe it's a little bit too simplistic, especially for like the first half or first 75% of the game, but where the game also succeeds so well, in my opinion, is finally nailing the giant robot combat. In Episode 1, we had the eggs, which were smaller robots that just kind of weren't that viable. Like, you could use them, don't get me wrong, you can upgrade them, get different parts for them, sure, but just being outside of your eggs in Episode 1 was arguably even better than being in the thing. Then Episode 2 just had really clunky and slow combat overall, and when you were using the ESs, it just felt like it was just hyper repetitive and it needed something extra. Well, Episode 3 gives you that something extra. The combat system when you're inside a giant robot functions very similarly to the turn-based combat for everyone else. However, instead of just choosing to do one attack, you have a gauge, basically an energy level, and for every turn of your ES, your giant robot, you are spending parts of that gauge to do various abilities to build up your anima gauge so that you can then use like a giant anima special attack. And it's awesome, dude. It's just awesome. Alright, suck my cannon. Jesus! It's different enough to regular boots on the ground combat to feel different enough and special enough, but it has enough depth and complexity by itself to feel different, but also equally as enjoyable as regular combat with all the beloved characters that Xenosaga brings to the table. I also found the boss fights to just be more interesting and enjoyable in this game because the combat system is just that well refined. Like I said, maybe regular boots on the ground combat is a little bit too simple for a good chunk of the game. game where you kind of just, if you really want to min-max, you can just pretty much put up your buffs and then manage your mana / EP in this game, and then just attack enemies until they're down and they have like strengths and weaknesses. Just avoid the elements that the enemies resist and you're good to go. And Monolith still kind of does that thing where their version of difficulty sometimes is just, oh, by the way, this boss can now one-shot you, huzzah. Sometimes they warn you, sometimes they don't. But you're also managing a break gauge, because like in episode 2 where you had the early versions of the driver combos that Xenoblade would really iterate on. In Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3, you were able to break an enemy, down them, knock them up into the air, spin them around like a pizza pie if you really want to. Whereas in episode 2 for Xenosaga, you could break, launch, and down, and that was the meat and potato structure of that game's combat system. Well, here it's just break. And you and the enemies all have these break bars, and you can do regular damage, you can do break damage, and if you're broken, you're basically stunned, and you can do a lot of damage to enemies, or you can take a lot of damage yourself, so you have to manage that. Again, a rather simple thing, but it's easily understandable, it's easily digestible, and you can work around it. And when you're actually playing with that system, it can be so dang fun, because you'll have abilities like Xion in combat doing wrestling moves on enemies to fill up their break gauge, or Ziggy just going behind them and put him into a chokehold repeatedly, and you can just kind of like spam that attack because it actually does good break damage. Ziggy, you know what time it is. Choke him, baby. Hit him with the ending of Nier Automata Route A. Oh, you're so close. Get back to Ziggy. Oh, yeah, how'd that fail? Another choke. Beautiful. Huge break as well. It's so funny watching these villains that are built up over the course of the trilogy that you loathe. You want to see them face the music. You want to instill holy justice upon them. And then if you pick certain party members to fight alongside you in combat, you can just kind of spam Ziggy, like choking him out in combat. And it just feels so dang good and satisfying. Not to mention, the character customization in this game is super good. And honestly, I think when it comes to being an overall video game, this might be Monolith's best, because there's just no real glaring weakness here. Even when it comes to character customization, it is rather straightforward. Every character has like a branching path at the very beginning. You can go for the top branch or the bottom branch, and you just pick up extra abilities that flavor that character's playstyle. Whether that be passive bonuses, stat bonuses, or just new spells, buffs, debuffs, stuff like that. It's very straightforward, easily understandable, and I think of all the Monolith games that I have played, the tutorials in this game are probably the best, because each system and mechanism that the game operates with is actually really understandable even without the tutorials. So you don't even really need them. You play the game for like 5 minutes and you'll pick up on like 95% of what this game's trying to teach you how to play intuitively. If you've played a lot of Monolith games, if you've played the Xenoblade games, you know that is something they still struggle with. Well, they kind of got it right all the way back in, what year did this game come out? Like 2007? Something like that. It is really, truly impressive, and it's just a joy to play from start to finish. We will not mention the minigame Hackcock. It's actually kind of fun. This one. Lord, give me the strength not to throw this controller into orbit. It even has a whole level editor, and it's basically just this like little mini game where you're trying to get certain characters to go along certain paths under various conditions and objectives. You actually get an ultimate weapon for doing a lot of it, but I 100%ed this game because I wanted to do everything in all the Xeno games, but this was a game where it's like, even if I didn't have that condition set out for myself, I was going to 100% this game either way, just because it's that dang good and fun, and I never wanted to stop. I wanted this game to be like twice as long as it is, and it's still a full, like, feature-complete game. It was just that good of an experience. This game really truly was and is the ultimate combination of all of the elements from the previous Xenosaga games. It's just that dang good, and we haven't even gotten to the freaking story really yet. Speaking of, let's get into that.
And good morning to you, Xion.
Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I do not know how I can possibly talk about the glory that is Xenosaga Episode 3 story without spoiling. It had one of the biggest obstacles in front of it going in, wrapping up all these characters' stories, wrapping up the story of the world, and all these various plot threads that Xenosaga had just put out there in Episode 1 and 2 and Missing Ya and Pied Piper, and it had to wrap up all of these things in just the confines of one game. That is a very, very hard thing to do, and they freaking nailed it. They absolutely knocked it out of the park. It is genuinely one of the most impressive feats I have ever seen from a writing crew in any video game I have ever had the pleasure of playing. Not to mention, by the way, alongside just how great this story is, the twists, the turns, the emotion, the comedy, the art direction in this game is arguably one of my favorite art directions I've ever seen in any other video game ever. It's like the short list for games that have art styles and directions on par with this game is very short. I'm thinking, right? Like, I'm genuinely trying to think. It's like maybe Halo 3. Okay, absolutely Halo 3. I would also put the Nier games up there. But it's like, if I had my way, this would be how every Monolith game looks from here on out. It's 2 in the morning. Why'd you wake me up?
Good morning to you, Xian. My drive coefficient is down by 0.3, but everything else is running normal. There are no problems.
Because this was a PS2 game, and Jesus, it does not look like it. Like, granted, I was able to upscale this thing with PCSX2, right? But like, even then, my god, the use of color, the use of scale, it made all these scenes, all these moments feel so epic and cool and grandiose, and this is sci-fi done right, dang it. It's done so right. In episode 1 and 2, that was one of my biggest complaints I never really talked about, was just the element of Xenoblade that I loved and appreciated so much was just how big and grandiose those worlds were, because they sucked you in and they refused to let go. And episode 1 and 2 for Xenosaga never really felt like that to me, outside of a few key moments. And then in this game, they just come out swinging, and it's just like, okay, the use of color, my god, this on an OLED display, by the way, would be like mind-numbingly gorgeous. But their use of color, character design, environmental detail, the fact that the introduction to one of the dungeons is just you in a giant robot descending into this giant open space, like, genuinely, it blows my mind. You know what? Screw it. I'm just showing you all. Okay, let's go to the actual dungeon. Where are you? There you are, Macabre. We're going straight to the Macabre, because you guys need to see this to actually believe it. I cannot illustrate this enough, how freaking cool this entrance is. This is like the start of the dungeon, by the way. Now, let's go down it. I mean, like, reminder, by the way, this is a PS2 game. The sense of speed, the sense of scale, the sense of spectacle. I can barely even speak correctly. Look at this crap, dude. The acceleration, the grandiose feel of it all, the use of color, the sense of scale, the contrast. It's like, this is sci-fi done right. Again, PS2 game. It's so dang good. It's so dang good. I haven't even gotten to the place I really want to show off in this dungeon, which is, by the way, the very first dungeon. Like, this is the tutorial dungeon. But, like, look at the color. It's just so much. Oh my god, I love this kind of stuff. It's so gorgeous, dude. It's like, this is one of the things I absolutely love about Xeno and Monolith overall, is whenever they're able to just really get that sense of scale and to nail it down, it just makes these worlds, these environments so fun and unique to explore, and also memorable. Like, oh my god, reminder, this is one of the first places you go to in the entire game. Like, the game starts pretty much in this dungeon, and it's so varied. I've barely even shown you, like, a tenth of what this dungeon actually is. Okay, that's a lie. It's more like 25%, right? But, like, look at that visual. It reminds me of Xenoblade 2 with the Cloud Sea and all that. It's so dang good. And, like, you can even, like, I think this takes you over there. No response. Okay, never mind. It doesn't, funnily enough. But just like, oh my god, man. And like, if that wasn't enough, the soundtrack in this game. Oh my god. The freaking soundtrack in this game. Easily a standout performance from Yuki Kajiura. The music's so varied, but it works, and it has a good sound that just worked with Xenosaga Episode 3. And like, my god, the ending. The freaking ending, dude. Maybe Tomorrow, I think, is one of my favorite songs ever put to a game, and just one of my favorite songs overall. It so perfectly encapsulates pretty much the entire message of Xenosaga and just Xeno overall. And it's like, where this game ends, I think this is one of my favorite game endings of all time. It's like, I think it's right up there with Nier Automata Rudy for me. It's like right up there. And it's an ending that makes you wish this game had a fourth. And I'm gonna make a theory video that Xenoblade is basically Saga 4, because that's one of the main takeaways I've had over the course of playing Xenosaga. Is just, oh, okay, so Saga and Blade are just connected, and like they're not subtle about it. It's not even a matter of, oh, you gotta go digging deep to find all the clues and maybe you can like fit these pieces of the puzzle together. No, they pretty much just like, yeah, it is what it is, dude. And I know it just sounds absolutely preposterous if you've only played Xenoblade. It's like, there's no way this other series, yeah, it has Xeno in the name, whoop-de-doo, right? But they were from a different company, right? This is Bandai Namco, Xenoblade's Nintendo. Yeah, it's Monolith, but surely they can't have like connected these worlds that apparently, right? Like, absolutely, right? No, they're blatant with it. Elysium? Hello? It's like, it's not subtle at all, in any way, especially with the revelations we've had at the end of Future Redeemed, and also in Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. For that game, by the way, product for Nintendo, for Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. But to me, at this point, I so desperately want a continuation of the stories of these characters, of the stories of KOS-MOS, of Shion, Momo, Junior, Ziggy, Chaos. It's just, I need a continuation. I need to know what happens with these characters. And there's also a part of me, and I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to put unrealistic expectations on Monolith's shoulders here for Xenoblade 4. But looking at everything, when I take a step back and I just take it all in, it really does feel as if the next Xeno game is supposed to be the bridge combining the stories and the characters, or maybe not necessarily the characters, but the worlds of Xenoblade and Saga together. Even though, again, it is pretty much the same freaking universe, or multiverse if we talk about Xenoblade X, but it feels like Xenoblade 4 is the perfect opportunity to reintroduce these characters into the story and to give us the continuation that we never ended up getting for these characters. Because yes, it is a phenomenal ending for Saga, but my god, it makes you want more. And it really makes you feel as if at some point in the future, there's going to be a fourth. There's going to be a continuation for these characters specifically, not just the overall world. And again, when we get to that theory video, I'll really be able to nerd out about this. But I think this just goes to show just how well told Xenosaga was. Was it rather dense in places? Absolutely. This game's a testament, get it? To that, by the way. This game is a very dense game. It's one of the reasons they had to give you an encyclopedia in this thing. But when you're able to take a step back, to absorb it all on a surface level, even if you don't understand the deeper things going on here, even if you don't understand concepts like Gnosticism or all the Nietzsche philosophy that Xenosaga is just absolutely riddled with, by the way, like even down to like the subtitle here. Also Sprach Zarathustra, which is just the name of one of Nietzsche's works. It's actually every subtitle or mini title for all the Saga games is just referencing one of Nietzsche's works. Even when you don't fully analyze that or understand it, it's still a really enjoyable game with amazing characters and amazing development and really interesting stories that you don't really see told all that much in the gaming medium. Or at least I haven't seen them told, at least in the same way that Saga does. It's like, I love every character here. The characters you're meant to hate, you really hate, and the characters you're meant to love, you absolutely love. And when you're supposed to feel frustrated with a character and how they act, that comes across. And I think it's one of the strengths of Xenosaga Episode 3. It's a continuation, a direct continuation of the story from Saga 1 and 2 and Pied Piper and Missing Year, and is able to take all those stories and continue them and to utilize the development and give you even more development and closure in this game. And they just do it so dang well. So dang well. I don't know how else to summarize Xenosaga Episode 3 other than by using the word masterpiece. It is a genuine masterpiece from start to finish, and it is a game that I took absolute pleasure in 100%ing. Getting all the ultimate weapons, getting all the segment files, all of the database, everyone's ultimate weapon. I even enjoy doing hackhawks. A few missions there can suck it. Oh, Miyuki got past! But I still enjoyed that minigame. What I think Xenosaga managed to do was solidify the fact that Xeno overall is just one of my favorite things ever. It's like, I love Xenoblade 1, I love Xenoblade 2 and 3 and X, and I also love Xenosaga 1, 2, and 3 and Missing Year and Pied Piper. I love these characters, I love these worlds, I love how Monolith is able to develop a world, flesh it out, introduce it, and execute on all these themes and all these principles they construct and develop and flesh out over the course of these experiences in these stories, and how they just bring everything together. Like, my god, if you haven't played or experienced Saga, it is hard to wrap your head around just how good these games are. But they truly are that good, and I just physically cannot wait for whatever Monolith have coming down the pipeline. I cannot wait for the next game. I'm so curious what it ends up being. But in the meantime, I do have this to tide me over.
And good morning to you, Xion.
Xenosaga is going to be one of those experiences, one of those stories that will stick with me for years to come, and that I will take absolute pleasure in revisiting numerous times down the line, just like I have with the previous Xenoblade games. They hold up, they stand the test of time. Could they use some improvements here and there? Yeah, absolutely. But is Xenosaga Episode 3, also Sprach the Zarathustra, one of the greatest video games ever made? Yes. Wholeheartedly, with no hesitation, no stutter, yes. And it's a game that deserves more love and recognition than what it already gets. It deserves more than to be stuck on the PS2. Bring Xenosaga back. Give it the tender, the love, the care that it so rightfully deserves. Because this story holds up. This story matters. It's so well told, it's so well executed, and it's absolutely, positively brilliant. And if we can get more games down the line, by the way, that use this game's art style and this game's character design as well, I would be happy. It's that dang good. I love it so much. And here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with if they brought Xenosaga back as a remake, as a port, as a remaster, as whatever, would you be interested in checking it out? Would you like to see a remake, a remaster, a port? What would you like to see? A specific change? Would you like to see all the art for all the Saga games brought to life in Saga 3's art style, or as 1 or as 2's? Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives down below. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it because, trust me, there's so much more to talk about when it comes to these games, especially with how they connect to Xenoblade. You know I love the theorycraft around here, and oh boy, are we gonna have a time of it. But Xeno's not the only sci-fi series I'm checking out soon. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is looking rather good, at least to me as an outsider of Metroid. That overview trailer they put out looks really dang good, and I am very interested in it. If you want to see my reaction to that trailer and my breakdown, you should check out this video right here for more. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again!